Ignite, sparked by BBB, where conversations are taking place to change the future.
Hello everybody, welcome back to BBB Sharing. I'm Joshua and I'm here with William from Bartholomew Plumbing. We're in the Ignite studio. Hello.
Hello, how y'all doing today?
So tell us a little bit about you. Tell us who you are and what you do.
Well, William Bartholomew, 51 years old. I've been plumbing since about 99, so about 25 years now. 25, 26 years is, a certain count you just don't keep track of more.
It's just part of life now.
Oh, yeah.
When did you start?
And 99.
99?
Early 99.
How's the journey been?
It's been up and down. I never saw myself being a plumber. I went into the military straight out of high school.
What branch?
Air Force.
Oh, okay.
And I got out of the military. I was young, dumb. I should have stayed in, but got out. I did some industrial maintenance for a while. I have ADHD, so warehouse work didn't suit me. I can't go to the same four walls every day. And then a buddy of mine stopped by the house and said, "Hey, we need some help. You want to come solder some pipe for us?"
Yeah.
So here I am 25 years later, I'm still doing it. So a couple times I thought about getting out. I went into apartment maintenance for a while, but again, going to the same place, just politics and stuff. And then I started my own business in 2009 when everything fell out.
Oh, what did you do?
I was still plumbing.
Oh, okay.
I was still plumbing. I was just working for other people.
Got it.
And, in 2009, when the bottom fell out over everything, we'd show up at work and just bosses wouldn't have anything, so they send us home. Or we'd go in, work 2-3 hours a day, make very little money, and make them a whole bunch of money. I was like, hey, I can do this for myself. Got my master's license and I started doing it for myself.
Oh, okay.
And it's just, I've growing pains over the first 8 years or so. It was just, I was doing good, don't get me wrong, but I was still young and stupid.
Oh, yeah.
Now I'm more focused. Life kind of makes you slow down and focus on what's important to you.
Of course, yeah. And I mean, we'll always have mistakes, at the end of the
Oh,
day, but there's always stupid mistakes we'll make even when we're like 50, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. And like we were talking before this, and I used to be all over the place, and then I tore my shoulder out, had a ruptured disc in my neck, had a couple surgeries, and revamped. Being out for 6 months, I got to sit down and see what I was doing, and I even contemplated shutting down because I was hurting. When you're in pain, you
It's hard to keep going.
and you got to make yourself last another 15, 20 years or so.
Yeah. How was that soul searching for you when you figured out that this is something that you did want to do and you wanted to stick with it?
It was actually good. It was, I was able to sit down and it was a good time off, even though, not being at work for 6 months, it puts a strain on finances and stuff. So, but the good Lord's been good to me when I picked back up and never really missed a beat.
That's good.
The soul search stuff decided what I really wanted to do, what I really like doing, and I really like going to people's houses and helping them out, solving their problems for their plumbing. Everybody's got all the problems. I can't solve them all. I can solve your plumbing problems most of the time, and that's really what I enjoy doing. Even though it's a lot of repetitive work, each house is different, and it brings its own challenges.
That's good, especially when you're in a field that you're able to help people in, and you're like, this is something that I can relieve their stress off of, and then you're doing that, and then once the job's done, you feel a little bit better.
Oh yeah, I get people all the time. They call me. They're in a panic. They can't figure it out, and I go in there in 10 minutes. I'm there and I'm done, and I'm like, all right, see you later. And they're like, what?
The world you don't know, man.
Yeah, the world was ending for them, and I come in and it's no big deal. I see it every day. But it goes back to the old saying, not to sound cliche, it says you can't beat a man in his own trade.
Mm-hmm.
It's like sheetrock work. I used to attempt it. I can't do what a sheetrocker can do when it comes to that.
Okay.
So I know where my limits are, but I also, since I was a little kid, I carried the motto, if it's broke when I touch it, I can't break it any worse, because it's already broke.
Yeah, that's fair. Did you, when it comes to like your industry in general, what are you seeing right now, in the plumbing industry? We have a lot of plumbing businesses that are accredited that come in, and I'm just curious on your kind of viewpoint.
I'm not sure what.
Just kind of like, where it's going. Do you see anything like new coming from it, or?
Well, one thing is the automated stuff, the smart stuff, shut off valves, filtration systems, stuff like that. I'm getting more and more requests for stuff like that. Putting an automatic shut off valve on a water heater that people can control from their phones, or in their main line on their house. I've done a few of those lately. I just priced up a filter system for a house. They're a customer of mine in Dinwiddie. They wanted a filter, they wanted water softener, and comparing prices and stuff. And one of the ones that can sell is it has smart technology where you can control the valve, you can control everything on it from your phone. It tells you when it's doing stuff.
Oh, interesting.
So smart technology is entering into the plumbing field, which is good. It's learning some of that stuff is really cool too, because like I said, I'm 51 years old. Some of this stuff is still new to me. I'm here today to learn how to work your website to my benefit. So.
Yeah. No, I've heard that there's even in like just the appliance industry, like there's stoves now that you can control from your phone if you want to turn something on automatically, whether it be the oven or just the countertop. And then you've got fridges that you're able to change the temperature on your phone too, just like out of nowhere. And that's something that's definitely going to happen in the future. Everything's probably going to be on your phone.
Yeah, your tankless water heaters, they've incorporated the AI or the smart technology in them that they learn how you use the water, and they have circulator loops and stuff in them that when it's peak time, say you come home every day at 6 o'clock and you go take a shower, the water heater knows that as long as it's close at the same time, it'll fire up, circulate the water, and have the water warm, so you're not wasting the water trying to wait for it to get there.
Yeah.
A lot of people misconception with tankless water heaters that they're instant hot. No, they're continuous hot. They still take, wherever they're at in your house, it still takes about the same amount of time to get hot water to you, if not just a touch longer, because of the cycles they gotta go through to get the hot water to you. So you get the ones with the circulator loops, and then the smart technology in them will fire up that circulator loop so it's warm when you get in there and you're not wasting all your water.
Interesting. Okay.
And it's pretty cool. I mean, of course, they all still go on flow rates and this, that, and the other. I think they're putting too much technology into like your regular sink faucets and stuff with the water reduction and this, that, and the other. Everybody complains because everything's trying to catch up with everything.
And it just makes things a little bit more expensive too. That doesn't really need to be more expensive. Do you see anything in like coming out of the or coming into like the winter season that you see a lot more calls from?
The well pumps, mainly. I just talked to a customer the other day. I get a lot of calls where their bladder tanks lose air, and their water, they know their switch is coming on and off a lot. And I tell everybody your pressure tank is like the inner tube on your car. It has air in it, and anything with air in it is subject to temperature changes. And when it's warm outside, that air expands and you get more pressure. But when it gets cold, that air contracts. You don't have as much pressure, so people start having problems with their well pump systems. At this time of year, I get a lot of calls when the weather starts changing just to go put air in a system. It's a little bit more involved in what I got to do just to put air in the system, but it's basically just turning everything off, draining all the pressure off, and then you can check your tank. A lot of people don't know they do that. They just go and put the gauge on and they got water pressure on it, and they're reading the water pressure, not the air pressure.
Yeah, I didn't know. I mean, it's just something that you don't really think about when you think about plumbing. The first thing that comes to my mind is water next to the toilet.
You don't realize if you're on well pump, you got air in your system too.
Yeah. Well, because you have to have some sort of pressure to get the water flowing, keep it going. So
to maintain it so it can balance itself out is really what it does.
Okay. When Like, is there any like, when it comes to like the science of like plumbing, like if we're getting like the nitty gritty of it, like anything like that pops into your head or like things that you got to think about on a daily basis when it comes to either like physics or like anything like that?
Not really. It's just, from doing it for so long, you get a basic understanding of how everything is. I don't wanna get into, when you start talking about plumbing, you gotta figure out what most of the time, what you use most of your plumbing for is using the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
We put things down the toilet that just flows on down the line. I don't know how that once you get into the physics of that, I can't tell you how certain things get down.
Yeah.
Go
No,
down the
I mean,
drain.
you're fine. I mean, you're good at what you do and you do it right.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
We have sewer stops and stuff all the time because it don't always go down the line. But how that actually works, and, we got fall on the pipe and this, I understand the fall and the water slide affecting this, that, and the other, but there's still things that, it's like us getting on a long slide at the water park.
Mhm.
How do we go down that tube? That tube is super, way up in the air and comes down. Our sewer lines are not like that. They're very little.
And some go
If
up,
anything.
some go
Yeah.
just straight, so, okay.
So, once you get into the physics, somebody smarter than me a long time ago figured that out. Plumbing goes back centuries, so.
Yeah,
At
we have
this point,
aqueducts.
we should be smarter than some of those people, but those people created this stuff.
Yeah.
So are we really smarter than they were?
Or just as, yeah. I mean, there's aqueducts that go back to like ancient Egypt times,
Mhm.
so, I mean, yeah.
And all that stuff flowed downhill, flowed uphill, and they figured it out for nothing.
Figured it
We
out.
got all of this and can't figure out how to code. So,
It can be limiting in some senses,
Mhm.
for sure. So, yeah, no, that makes sense. Did you, when it comes to just your industry in general and like plumbing, people who wanna get into your industry and excel at that industry, do you have any kind of tips for those people?
Those
Especially also
people,
as like a
yeah.
business owner.
I was actually having this conversation with my cousin this morning, cause he's a plumber as well. There's all kinds of different avenues. Your high schools are offering trade schools, certain, electric, heat and air, plumbing, people, I highly recommend a trade school. You're gonna go through a trade school of some sort anyway. You got apprenticeship programs, or you could do it on your own. I did mine on my own. I started off working when we first started work, when I first got into plumbing, we were doing commercial and residential.
Mhm.
So we did a little of everything, had to learn both sides. It all depends on the person and where they wanna head. If they wanted to lead into their own business, and, if their goal is to run their own business, I advise they go to the trade school in their own, do their 4 years in the trade school. They test, get their journeymans, and in a year, go to work for a company. And in a year, they can test for their master's license. That's how Virginia DPOR works it. It's gonna take you a little longer through an apprenticeship program. There's multiple commercial companies around, and I think some residential companies that offer apprenticeship programs. But then you get into contracts with them, you get into, takes you longer to learn some stuff.
Yeah.
I jumped into the residential side of things more so than the commercial side of things, and we designed our own plumbing. We had drawings of a house and we had to just go put plumbing in the house.
Mhm.
So we had to learn the codes and everything very fast. But you go to a commercial site where the drawings are there, all you gotta do is look at the drawing, it tells you where to put the pipe. Yeah,
So it doesn't have that on residential.
no, we just get a drawing of a house and, where
gotta
the
figure it
bathrooms
out
are,
from
and
there.
then, we gotta design it ourselves, and everybody's a little different. As long as it meets the code, it doesn't matter, there's multiple ways of doing things. With commercial work, most of the time, unless you're on the higher end of it and you've been doing it a long time, you're the ones doing the drawings. We're basically looking at a piece of paper telling us where to put it. Now, there's information we have to go in there and figure out on the drawings and stuff. I don't wanna say it's a no-brainer. Everything is not completely figured out,
Yeah.
but it's there, so you don't necessarily learn as much, you're learning to follow a piece of paper than a code book. To me, learning to follow the code book is more important. You have to be able, but I wanna know why I'm doing it,
Yeah.
and the why comes later. It's understanding that, your distances and your fall and this, that, and the other, and, you learn residential plumbing, you learn framing codes and this, that, and the other, cause everything we do, once we drill a hole, affects framing. So, it all depends what the person wants to do. You can go to the unions and make a killing as far as money goes with the unions.
Yeah.
Trade school's a whole lot cheaper than college.
Yeah, for sure. God, by how much? That's another story.
If they mainstream college again and you actually went to college for what you were going for, and instead of doing the first 2 years as an extension of high school with some crazy classes that nobody needs.
Yeah.
Somebody needs them, don't get me wrong, somebody needs them, but,
And college is good for, certain things, but there's some things that are good based off experiences or other things that don't have to deal with hitting the books, or just other things that you can do in just, outside of school that can work. I get that.
So it all depends on where you wanna be in 5 years, on which avenue I tell people to take. If somebody wants to start their own business and be their own boss, I'm a one-man show. I love being a one-man show. I like it. I stay busy for me. If somebody wants to, like I said, start their own business, I advise they go to trade school on their own. Go work for a company for a couple of years, that I like residential because to me personally, I think you learn more in residential. Don't get me wrong, the commercial side, you learn a lot on commercial side. There's a lot dealing with commercial that I'd never touch in electrical, on the residential side of things. I'm not gonna knock those guys at all, they're brilliant at what they do too. But me in my direction, I like the residential side more. I've done the commercial, I'm not happy doing commercial, it's it's a different pace. Different mindset, different pace.
Wow.
And it's a little slower pace, and with my ADHD, I have to be moving.
Yeah.
And I've kind of got myself in trouble when I work for commercial companies because I move too fast for them, so to speak.
You think that shouldn't be a problem, but
Well, when commercial companies, when they bid jobs out, they build them for they know how much each person's gotta do each day to make it last this long. And if they do it too fast, according to that bid, then they get in trouble. If they take too long, they get in trouble.
that's interesting. I'd be happy if my plumbing got done a little bit quicker than.
If somebody comes in and say, we're gonna charge you $10 million to do your project, and it's gonna take us 18 months to do it, and they come in and do it 6 months for $10 million, you're gonna get a little upset.
I can see that, but they also put in the work to do it faster though, you know what I mean?
They did, but, it's politics. But you don't want me to come in and fix your kitchen sink drippy kitchen sink faucet and take 4 hours to fix your kitchen sink faucet with something that usually takes me anywhere, 10 to 20 minutes to do.
A little bit more personal aspect to the residential side. Okay. No, I get that. That makes sense. But all right. I mean, was there anything else that you wanted to say?
No, and I'm a problem solver. And the residential side of coming in and fixing those, to me, no job is too small. I have a basic, I have what I call a basic service that I do. That when you call me and say, hey, my kitchen sink's dripping, I come in and fix your kitchen sink. It's a set price there. Same for everybody. My price is pretty much set prices anyway. I don't charge by the hour. I charge pretty much for what I do. What drives that up is the material that I'm doing. So if you got a project source faucet from Lowe's, or you got a Growy faucet that costs, those parts obviously are different prices. So that's what drives my price up, is the material that I'm buying. For my basic labor charge is the same.
Okay.
And so I do more of a flat rate type deal. When I come to a house, I'm coming there, I allot 2 hours per job. Most of my basic service call jobs are 20 minutes at the most, 20, 30 minutes. but I allot 2 hours. That way, if I have to go out and get material, you're not paying me to run around the streets.
Yeah.
That's all allotted in it. This is all stuff when I was out for 6 months that I thought about. It was like, how can I service people better? And, I developed the motto from Colossians 3:23-24. Whatever you do, work heartily as for the Lord and not for men, knowing that from the Lord you will receive the inheritance as your reward. You are serving the Lord Christ. So when I come to your house, I treat it as if I'm serving God. I want to do the best possible job I can do and not leave you hanging.
Yeah. I think that's a really good way to put it. I think something can be learned, like everyone can learn from that, being able to, one of those, leave someone's house cleaner than you left it kind of feeling, so.
And ultimately, I want you happy with what I did, and if I'm doing it to please God, I think, and I feel He's happy. I feel you'll be happy too.
Of course. Well, thank you for doing what you're doing, and I appreciate you coming in today. Again, this was William with Bartholomew Plumbing. Did not forget you. If you guys want to follow us on anything else, you can follow us on Instagram and Facebook, Ignite Sparked by BBB Central Virginia. And then you can also follow us on LinkedIn, BBB Serving Central Virginia. Last words, Mr. William?
You want to learn more about me, check out bartholomewsplumbing.com. That's my website and has all my information there.
There you guys go. Drive safe. Have a good week, everybody.
Thank you.
Ignite, sparked by BBB, where conversations are taking place to change the future.